What's going on, guys? Dr. Brute7 signing in back with another handheld review. This is the newly released device from Anbernic, the RG40XX H. Before we start, a very special thanks to AliExpress for sending me to review this. This is my first influencer product review, as I reject all of them, because if it doesn't benefit you guys, it doesn't benefit me. So if it's in the interest of my viewers, I will always consider. So this one is going to benefit you all, and here I am reviewing this product. More into that later. Let's do a quick unboxing before we step into the technical aspects, because what's a review video without unboxing? Now that the unboxing is done, let's talk about the specifications. Now this device comes in different colors. I chose blue because roses are red. The RG40 looks good in blue. Aside from bad rhyming, this handheld also comes in black and gray, so you can take your pick. Like the other similar released devices by Anbernic, like the RG35xx H, the 35 SP, 28XX, and the original and the 2024 models of RG35XX, this too shares the similar internal hardware specs. In other words, these devices are all about ergonomics instead of the specification. So basically, the RG40 comes with a 4-inch fully laminated IPS screen with 640 by 480 resolution. The RG35 comes in with the same resolution, fully laminated IPS. However, it's a 3.5 incher, 0.5 inch less. Now let's talk about the horsepower. Both these have the all-winner H700 quad-core ARM Cortex A53 with 1.5 GHz frequency. A whole lot of description, but don't get carried away. It means it can run games smoothly up to PlayStation 1 and Nintendo 64 games as well. A whole lot of the Nintendo 64 games are going to run properly. Anything beyond that, basically the PlayStation Portable or Dreamcast emulation, it's not going to be that good. If you do some tweakings or frame skipping, don't have any issues with frame skipping, then it should be good. Or it should be okay, not good, sorry. Dual core G31 GPU for both these devices, and both of them comes with LPDDR4 1 GB of RAM. Now my RG40 comes with a 64 GB memory card. Now there's 128, 256 GB alternatives. That's going to cost you guys a little bit more. Maximum capacity for both these devices are 512 GB. The operating system is 64-bit Linux, which Anbernic just recently updated. They're constantly improving their stock OS. Amazing. Perfect out-of-the-box experience. Can't emphasize more. Let's talk about the batteries real quick. 3200 milliamperes. Its counterpart, the RG35xx H, 3300 milliamperes. This one is 100 milliamperes less. I don't know why they did that, especially when they added the RGB lightings. That's gonna take a little bit more battery life. Time to look at the trigger buttons. First of all, I really like the shape and feel of this device. I love it. I loved it when I played around before starting making this review. I played around for a couple of hours. My hands, which usually gets fatigued due to, I don't know, extensive gaming, my age, crippling depression that is taking over my body, or if I am working out too much. So these two fingers of mine, both of my hands, they get fatigued. But despite of playing for a couple of hours, I did not feel that with this device. I think it's perfect for my, I'm sorry, my 35xx H. I still love you. I didn't want to hurt you. It just happened. Collateral. Let's talk about the shoulder buttons. I like these shoulder button placements because they're way too easier on your index and middle finger. This is not too bad either. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. But if you're one of those picky gamers, then definitely I would say stick to this device. Now this one shares the similarity in the structurization with the Nintendo Switch Lite. Now the Nintendo Switch Lite's button placements, I really like it. Nintendo Switch Lite is a couple of inches bigger than the RG40XX H. To make things short, this is the kind of button structure and the shape and the size I'm in favor of. The shoulder buttons are kind of similar to the Nintendo Switch Lite, but the shape is just perfect in my hands, and for the look and design, Anbernic has done a great job by giving it a premium feel to it. It doesn't feel cheap at all. Let's talk about the clickiness real quick. Anbernic buttons are quite clicky. Oh, shit. Oh. And if you do the same with the Nintendo Switch Lite, way more softer. I know what I said on my 35xx H video there. You don't need to pinch my pecker, you know what I'm saying? Just please leave me alone, mistakes were made. Now let's take a look at the thumbsticks. Both of them are similar. There is no difference when it comes to the design. However, this one, if you make a side-by-side comparison from this angle, you can see the 40xxH's thumbsticks are protruding, which isn't too much of a big of a deal unless you have thumbs which are a bit thicker. These thumbsticks can get in your way, but I don't think that's going to create much of an issue. Now the RGB lighting is a very nice touch, but if you do want to save some battery life and want to shut it off, there is an option to do that. You just head over to settings real quick, LED settings, you can just disable lightning effect. And while we are at it, there are different modes for your RGB lights. You can select one of them according to your choice. You can also select the brightness. I usually set it to 70. Now that's totally up to your preference, and then you can also increase or decrease the speed. So yeah, that's basically it with the RGB lightings. Okay, let's talk about the face buttons. They're almost the same. They're literally almost the same except the D-pad. The D-pad on the 35xx is much more pressier than a 40xx's D-pad, if that made any sense. So yeah, this one is much more mushier on the thumb, which means let's do the contra test, because Russ says, yeah man, you want to do it. So let's do the contra test real quick on the RG40XX and see if it passes with flying colors or not. So the purpose of this test is to see if our character is going to stay in place when we are going to diagonally press the D-pad. It's actually not happening when I'm pressing. Yeah, okay, it's not. So it's kind of like not working. It failed the contra test. The RG35xx H passes the contra test with flying colors, while the 40xx doesn't, which isn't too much of a big of a deal. One last change that they did with the buttons is with the function button, previously known as F, however, they changed it to M now. They have changed the placement from top to the face, which is way more convenient to bring up the RetroArch menu or perform any kind of correlated functions like the rewind feature. Now let's do a side-by-side screen comparison of these two devices. The extra 0.5 inches does make a huge difference because it makes the color look way more vibrant than the RG35xx H. And they say size doesn't matter. It does matter by a lot. Display wise, it's almost the same when it comes to the colors, but due to the slightly larger screen size, the visuals do look better on the RG40XX. Now let's take a quick look at the software interface. As usual, I like the stock OS, even though it's a bit boring looking compared to the other custom firmwares. But hey, boring doesn't mean it's bad. The stock OS is always improving, and Anbernic is making it even better. They just released, I think, 2 or 3 updates which support 64-bit. Okay, so when it comes to an out-of-the-box experience, stock is the way to go. But if you're a tinkerer, bro, just go on tinkering about. Find what suits you the best, but I'm speaking from a wider field of view, as lots of people don't like to play around with the technical aspects. Instead, they just want to play with their newly bought devices, as is out of the box. Now, the live area is literally the same. If you head over to the settings, obviously it's device specific. We have the LED settings. There's system information, lock screen, backlight brightness you can change by pressing and holding the M button and then the volume up or down button. I usually keep it to a level 4. The lowest brightness setting is also not too bad. I/O test is literally the button responsiveness testing. Then LED settings, I already spoke about that. Date and time, language, RetroArch settings, and network settings. Battery life depends on the type of game you're playing. If you're playing the usual retro titles like 8-bit and stuff, Game Boy Color, expect at least 6 to 6.5 hours. But if you're playing the beefier games like Game Boy Advance, PlayStation 1, expect like 4.5 to 5 hours. Yeah. Okay, there's the usual game room from where you can start your games, and also you can start through RetroArch as well. There's the App Center, music, video, ebook, and all of that sort. Assign your games to favorites under history, recently played games. And search is basically where you can just search for a game of your choice. I like this feature as well. Alright, so let's do some real quick game testing before wrapping this one up. And also I need to tell you about something important, so please stick around with me.
You better drive, brother. This is the place right here. Let's get off the street and find a change of clothes.
Okay, so there's the thing with the N64 emulation. If you activate the rewind feature, it's going to start lagging. So no rewind feature for N64 games. And also, for each of these platforms, when you start a game, you're going to see that the video shaders are on. For some of these games, the video shader has scan lines activated. I would recommend turning them off unless you prefer scan lines. I do not, so I'm just gonna turn them off.
levers and... Spider sense tingling. What's going on here? Sorry about that.
Okay, so now that we are done with the short game testing, let's talk about charging. You can use a very low power charger, like connecting it to your PC's USB or using your multi-plugs USB if you have one. If you want to charge, you just plug it in over here. Also the LED indicator as compared to the RG35xx H, which is right over here, I like this one way better. Don't be using any powerful adapters as it can cause issues. So just be careful in that aspect. And as for battery backup, it totally depends on the kind of game you're playing. Let's talk about pricing. This product comes in about $74 US if you buy it from AliExpress through official Anbernic store. That's basically where I have placed my order from, and if you buy it from their dedicated website, you'll get it for around $69.99, which is basically $70 plus shipping. Convert it to Canadian dollars, that's a little over $100. But I have set up a discount code for you guys should you want to buy this product. You can just get it from the description. Now this is basically what I was talking about. We are all here to enjoy some good old retro gaming moments, and obviously, and if I can help to bring down the cost even by a little bit, then why not? I'm going to be linking everything in the description for your convenience, so you can check it out. Now let's talk about custom firmwares. As of now, there is a build of KNULLI Batocera for this device, along with the Mini UI custom firmware with a customized interface and settings compiled by Russ. I'll be linking that in the description as well. You can just download his build and drop it on your SD card after flashing the custom firmware with Mini UI. And as for KNULLI, I'm not going to install that custom firmware as my experience has somewhat been mixed with Batocera, so you can check out my video on KNULLI from the description as well. I'm waiting for MuOS's latest build that they are working on, so I'll just go with that. For now, I'll just stick with the good old stock OS and play it safe. Anbernic seems to be releasing these devices like a well-fed chicken, dropping eggs from its butt. So many of these handhelds got released within a short time span. So if you're one of those who already owns several of these Anbernic devices, then it's better that you wait for a price drop. Usually price drops by 10 or 20 bucks a couple of months after their release, and to top it off, you can maybe use my discount code to bring down that already discounted price even lower for your benefit. You know what I'm saying? But if you're one of those people who are looking to get your hands on an Anbernic device for the first time, I would definitely recommend going for this, the RG40XX H, because it's so much perfect in the hands, the grip, the button placements, the shoulder button placements, it's perfect. It's amazing. So I would definitely recommend it as a starter console for someone who is looking to revisit their nostalgic moments. There is one thing that I did notice on this device. It usually happens when you're playing for a prolonged time, or if you're playing PlayStation 1 titles. It's actually happening even right now, right here. It's not that warm, but it does get a bit more warmer when I play graphical intensive titles like PlayStation 1 games or Nintendo 64 games. It gets a bit warmer on this side, but it's not something to really worry about. Alright, time to wrap this review up. My final verdict on this console: this is a great starter budget console which delivers a solid retro emulation experience. If you're looking to get a multi-emulation device for the very first time, I would highly recommend you to get this. Both in terms of the looks and the feel, this is a great way to relieve nostalgia. The 4-inch display gives a nice and crisp view of your favorite classic titles as you travel to your next destination. Also, the sound quality is a lot better when compared to the RG35xx H. It's a bit more louder when I did the side-by-side testing. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to drop in a like and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you guys on the next one. Dr. Brute 7 signing off. Peace.